Is it a bird? Is it a plane? No, don't panic, folks. Don't adjust your sets. KBS is live during daylight hours. What is that all about? It's almost as if we have turned this world upside down. So with that in mind, how about we go down under for some ancient knowledge and mysteries all the way from my much beloved Australia. And I've got Jess with me to co-host today, and we've got two special guests. Let's get right into it with our good friends Anne-Marie, aka Luna, and
G'day.
Donnie, all the way from down under. And of course, there he is. There's Donnie as well. Donnie, I know me and you would get on very well. I can tell that just by looking at you, brother. And I've got Jess with me as well. And Jess has been promoted today. She's done 3 shows already and already got a seat as a co-host. And Jess, I have to thank you for being really instrumental in putting this together, obviously. And because of the nature of today's show, you're going to be a lot more than a co-host, because I'm kind of be riding shotgun with you, because we're down under. It's very Australian in nature. And I'm very, very, very aware of the cultural kind of differences that may exist between here and Australia. And I think you make the perfect bridge between my world, our world, and it's weird. I've got daylight in the window. I don't know if I can handle this. And these brilliant people you've got with us today. So, Jess, I'm going to let you introduce today's guests. And I'm also going to let you start off the show in a very special way as well.
Thanks, Kev. It's an honour and a pleasure to be able to do this show with you and to have Donnie and Anne-Marie on today. And I just want to say thank you to them, because they're the ones bringing all the knowledge and bringing all the culture to the world. And I think it's really brave of them to do so. And I think that now is definitely the time to get this sort of knowledge out there. And I just want to say thank you very much to them. And I also want to perform a bit of an acknowledgement of country. It's a respect thing. So when we're speaking about these sorts of things, we like to acknowledge that Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people as the traditional custodians of the land in which we meet, and we pay our respects to the elders of the past, present and future. And I believe that Anne-Marie had something she'd like to say as well before we get going in that vein. So
thanks, Tess.
Over to you.
To begin with love and respect, I must acknowledge our ancestors of the many lands this voice is being heard in. Thank you.
Absolutely awesome. Now, first of all, before we get going, Luna, I'll come to you first. How on earth's name did people down under hear about the Kev Baker show in the first place? How did you get here?
Wow, that's strange. I was thinking about that the other day, Kev.
You see synchronicity already.
When I was thinking about it, I realised actually how long I've been listening to your show for. And it's your accent got me one day, and it's the stuff that you put on your show. It caught my attention, and then when I heard your voice, because you remind me of a very, very dear friend that I had once, and you sound similar to him. So I started listening to you, and as my technology got better, I got you to YouTube and all that, and I could actually see you and all that, because I was listening to you on radio while I was doing all my business. And yeah, it just progressed from there. And then I got jumped in the chat room and met Mammoth and all the other fellas in the chat room. Hi, guys. And it just progressed from there. And you talk about stuff and put stuff on your show. I'd be jumping up and down my chair going, oh, like a little school kid going, we got stuff that sort of is connected to that and it'll widen the knowledge perspective. Yeah, and I was telling Jess one day, and I sit there and I get really frustrated because I couldn't communicate with anyone to say as much. I could only say a little bit in the chat room. Yeah, because it's different when you speak.
Well, that is what I'm really quite proud of with this show, because it's not just about me. I've met Mammoth. I've met so many great people through the show, and I already know I've met another 2 great people today. So no more having to scream at the TV. You've got the floor today, so I'm really looking forward to hearing more from you, Anne-Marie. And Donnie,
Thank you.
brother, how did you end up here, man? How on earth's name did you end up here?
Bruce R. Fenton.
Ah, yes. Now, I just received his books today, so that's a bit of a synchronicity. And
Yeah.
he's a really nice guy.
Donnie follows Bruce around, and if he's going to be on a show, Donnie will come listen to him. So, and I told Donnie about that because he actually messaged me on Facebook and said that I did well in the show we did together. And I asked him if he'd been over to the chat room, and he was sort of like, "Chat room, what's that?" So I sort of coaxed him over there into the chat room, and there he's been ever since.
Well, Donnie, I'm so glad you're here today, and I'll start with you then, right? Because
Kev, can I just can we start with Anne-Marie, and there is a reason for that, and that is that where Donnie and Anne-Marie are from, it's actually matriarchal. So the women have the last say and the first say.
So you mean I've got to pack my toxicity away in the drawer today?
Sorry, Kev.
Oh, this is going to be new.
I'd like to acknowledge your beautiful wife, Anne.
She's actually sitting just over there. Yeah, she's over there, and she is the boss. Yeah. Well, my mum's the boss of that house.
She's an elder.
Yep. Anne's the boss of this house. So yeah, we've kind of got it set up the right way then, right?
Yeah.
So this isn't. It's not in all Aboriginal people aren't a matriarchal. So the mob I work with in Northern Territory, they're very much patriarchal. And so is Western Australia, I believe. They're patriarchal as well, but all up the East Coast, and I'm pretty sure South Australia, I should know that because I'm from here, are matriarchal. So we were hoping to start with Anne-Marie. And Anne-Marie is a weaver and a spiritual healer from the town of Mount Druitt in New South Wales, and she makes up a group called the Babayan, or the Ancestral Women, and they are a bunch of mobs from all over, as most places are nowadays, a bit of an amalgamation. And so the work that she's doing there with those women is just fascinating, and I could listen about it all day long, but I'll let her take it out for you about a bit of history of her mob and her people and where she's from.
All right, now I'm going to play a trick with your head, because now that I got the power there, and in our country we might be matriarchal, but we love our men and they're our equals, and we guide them and nourish them with our love and beauty. And we have a lot of traditions that are respectful to our men, and in doing that, I would like to hand it back to Kev and Bro here in respect for all our men, because I can say that now. And please continue what you're doing, Kev, and I can wait. It's all good, because I love my brothers.
First of all, can I have this global? I think this is pretty cool already, by the way. I'm liking this. And Donnie, bang, this has been a great start to what's going to be a brilliant show. But you follow Bruce Fenton, and before I came across Bruce, I had a fascination with all things Aboriginal. Anytime it was on the TV, I would get a little taste of what was going on. And I think I've always had an inkling in me that when you're talking about where did we all come from, original, I've always thought that it's always been in me, Australia, and then I come across Mammoth, and she introduced me to Bruce. But what is it then that, you like Bruce Fenton, so what is it that appeals to you about what he's putting out there, Donnie?
Because he's telling the truth. He's telling that what we've been trying to tell the people for years now, that Australia was the first Homo sapiens. That's where we all come from, Australia. And we all went over the world from there.
And you've got stories that indicate that as well, Donnie, don't you?
Yeah.
Some of the old ones used to talk about Lemuria or Mu, and that being where your people come from.
Yeah, some of the old elders used to call this Australia Mu.
Yeah. Short for Lemuria, because when Donnie and I were talking today, I did mention to him about how it's sort of widely acknowledged that Lemuria was where Aboriginal people came from. And then he said, yeah, it's funny you say that because the old people used to call this place Mu. So yeah. So Donnie is a Anawan man with a Gamilaroi father, but because it's matriarchal, he calls himself an Anawan man because his mother was Anawan. And he's from Tamworth in New South Wales. And Donnie is actually a sites officer.
Yeah.
That's your son, Donnie, I think. He just donated a super chat.
Hey, thank you. Yeah, that's brilliant. Thanks very much.
That's Donnie's son. So he is a sites officer. So he walks around basically finding archaeological sites. And he has seen some pretty fascinating things in his travels. And I just don't even know where to start, Donnie, because
Tell us some of the tell us some of the stuff you've come across then, Donnie. I mean, what really sticks out in your mind?
Yeah, Jess, you got that photo of that stone axe?
Yeah, the giant one.
Yep, I'll bring that
Yes,
up on the
giant.
screen right now. Give me 2 secs. There we go. I'll find that here somewhere. We've got that many things open. Desktop. Okay, there we go. Now, when I seen this axe today, this is like something a Scotsman would wield back in the day, folks. Wait, you see this thing? That thing there.
I don't know where it came from. No one seems to know where it came from. It's just turned up.
Now, there's another picture of it here somewhere, isn't there? Yeah. This one here.
Yes.
I mean, that one there shows you, I mean, that is
That's a yardstick front there.
Yeah, I mean, that edge that's on that there.
Yardstick.
I mean, Donnie, when you found this, I mean, does it look like a natural stone to you?
Yeah, it's grey granite.
But it's not natural, is it, Johnny? It's definitely
No, it's not natural. Whoever made it it's like there's no machine marks on it. That's what had me. Plus, if you have a look there, you can see where the handle went at the back of it.
the groove, yeah.
Of the groove there where the handle goes.
That is. Now, what kind of weight are we talking about here, roughly? I mean, that looks massive, you know?
Yeah, I think you might need a utility to move it around a bit, though.
So hang on. So if we need something to move it around today, then how did ancient people work stone like that and move it about? This is the kind of thing that really puzzles me, Donnie, and it amazes me, you know?
This is this is actually a good segue into Anne Marie's story that she has involving redhead giants here in Australia, which I've been waiting to get you to hear, Kev. And I think Donnie hasn't heard it either yet, has he? Or did you talk to him about it, Anne Marie?
I don't know. Did I tell you about that, bro?
What about the ones?
The ones on the ship that come in, and we got the axes and the shield. I have to tell you the story now. See?
Yeah.
Oh, you must. Yeah, you have to.
Yeah, I'll tell you the story. All right. So a long time ago, there was a big ship. There's an East Coast story. There was a big ship, and on that ship was 2 brothers, the mother and the wives and the kids. And a storm came and it brought them to our shores. I'll say it right now, eh? It brought them to our shores, and they had to stop here for water and food. So the 2 brothers were fixing up the boat, the wives were looking for water and food, and the mother decided to go for a walk to see where they landed, and she walked all the way up to a big cliff. Anyway, it was that long that she didn't realise. The boys thought she wasn't coming back. So they decided to sail with their kids and their wives. And the mum looked out and saw the ship sailing, and she got really, really angry. And she made a magic spell, and it made a giant storm, and it brought the ship back into our shores. And what happened, it smashed the ship up on the way, so they couldn't get back home now. But what happened is our people saw that happen, and we adopted them people. Now, these people were red-headed, white-skinned giants, and we adopted the shield and the axe heads from them people. So the mobs in our country that have the axe head and shields, it comes from there. And we automatically know that if we see a person with red hair and white skin, that they're part of our mob, even though anyone else wouldn't think so. And you'll find that their mum or dad is black as, and they look like that, and we just know, oh, you're a black fella, and other people look at us like, what? How do you figure that out? But it's just something natural in us, and that story explained a lot to me about the giants and where the redhead comes, and that, because if us girls dye our hair red, us
Good
black
morning
girls,
to all you chat peeps. You Aussie people are cool. Hello Mamo, Donnie, Kev and Luna. This is gonna be pure awesomeness, PPP woo.
There you go, and apologies for Brian is not very, he's not very polite as Brian. He doesn't care who's talking. But you know this story with the giants, that's really, really interesting. Now, how long ago are we kind of roughly talking? I mean, what have you been told there?
There's not dates on it, but judging by the fact that our mob, there was a lot of us, and we were established in all our different mobs, and we ate possum as well, possum skins. We adopted eating possum because they live high up in the trees and they could access them because they were bigger than us, and we needed the extra food to feed them. So that's when we started eating possum and adopting the axe and the shield. But so that's how you can identify the mobs that they interacted with.
Now, this is a number of times I've heard mobs now. Is this the given term for, because over here, if I was to refer to somebody as a mob, probably it would be quite derogatory. You know that mob over there. Yeah. So is that like almost a...
Remember, Anne-Marie, we spoke about giving him a brushing up on our slang.
Would that be like our clans over here? Like I would have a clan.
It would be. Yeah. But we also, even if we're all from different clans, but we're all together, we know each other. Like you'd be all Scotsmen, right?
Yeah.
And you'd say that's my mob or that's our mob, even though they're different, because you're with them and you're all connected somehow. You might be cousins or related, or have families that are together and have stories together or whatever.
And this
it's also what we call a mob of kangaroos as well. Yeah, when you get a bunch of kangaroos together, you call them a mob.
Don't get me started on kangaroos. I'm still trying to get over the ancient kangaroo that was over 2 meters
I saw
tall.
That, Kev.
That was crazy,
I got
right?
a story, well, not a story, but about the white oak Anne-Marie.
Hogging all the showtime look. When I saw your show, I'm sitting there jumping around as usual, going, and I'm thinking, oh, Kev, there's a story about the giant kangaroos. There was the black fellas were there and they needed food, but they had to go through the land where the giant kangaroos were, and they couldn't get through because they'd stomp on them. And they asked Creator to help them out, and Creator said, cover yourself with white ochre and I'll make you invisible. So they did, and they did a ceremony to respect that, covered himself in white ochre, and they walked through the mob of kangaroo to get to the other side so they could get food, and the kangaroos couldn't see them.
Wow. Just wow. Jess, I had no idea it was going to be this good, and we're only, about 20 minutes into this, and we've not even got going yet. We really haven't.
We've still got a lot to get through.
There's more of a general question for either you, Anne-Marie, or Donnie, but I often talk about time on the show, and it fascinates me how different cultures, different civilizations at different times have viewed time itself. What do your people say about time then? I mean, we've put this Gregorian calendar on it, stuff like that, but what do real people say about time?
You go, bro.
We didn't have Monday.
On you go, Donnie. On you go, Donnie.
We didn't have a Monday.
Thank you. That's Donnie's boy again. Now, when you look,
I think the question basically was regarding the dream time.
Yeah, well, not even just that.
Was going to come up.
But
and this is interesting because it was so hard to put into words for either of them, because when I spoke to both of them about this, because I think I gave a little bit of a rundown on how we explain it when I did the show last, Kev. But when I was trying to get Donnie and Anne-Marie to explain it, it's really difficult for them to put it into words, which doesn't surprise me because it is a difficult concept to wrap your head around when you're coming at it from a left brain perspective, because I suppose a lot of how they view things are very much through the right brain intuitive side of looking at things. So it makes it hard to sort of explain, but I mean, that's you guys' place to do that if you want to take it from there.
I write stuff down trying to help to explain this, and sometimes it comes out like a bit of poetry, and I'll just say a few words that might help. Dinawan in our language means emu, and where I live is called Emu Plains. And I'm sitting here one day and I'm thinking, how do I explain this to people? And then it just went, the Dinawan run to the sound of the gun, now all the plains are empty. The river still runs, though the city still comes, but the dreaming's still alive in me. And that's how we are, even though it all is around us. To us, it's still the old way. We walk on the land and we still see the old way, we still feel it. So yesterday, today and tomorrow is all still right now, there's no difference. And I've got a little stories about the Woo story, about some spirit stuff where those two worlds have actually merged, and I've actually seen them and they've seen me. So it's like the veil has dropped long enough for us to communicate and become visible to each other, because we walk in the dreaming. You've probably heard me say that, Kev. We walk in the dreaming. To us, it's now. It's never changed. It's never stopped. It just has always happened. And that's the best way I can explain it without. And I'll tell you little Woo stories. Maybe that could explain it in different ways. But yeah.
And Donnie, you agreed there. I mean, time. This kind of it's never stopped for you, right?
It never stopped. Yes, it never stopped. That dreaming keeps going.
You
and
see,
it's still being created now.
Yeah, and Jess, this is something, that we sometimes, from a Western perspective, I look at Australia and I see the big cities now, and I think to myself that this must be totally alien to like the people the original people there, the people of the land. But not so much from what I'm hearing here, because it's more a state of mind than a place, right?
Yeah.
A way of walking.
Yeah.
It still hurts, like where I live, over time the river has become more populated and there's tourism and stuff, and I'm slowly watching the natural, what I know when there was no one here, disappear. But I know that the bonding that I had with this land, it will always be the same, so anytime I can access what I knew before.
And how about the Australian government? What are they like?
Don't go there, Kev. Don't get
that growly, that's good.
No, you don't want to do it. Hang on. This is all I can say.
The Jimmy Jeans look. Yep, the Jimmy Jeans look.
I was talking to Donnie today, and we were discussing a little bit about the collective trauma that the Aboriginal people have been through, and about the genocides, the stolen children that took place and are still taking place. So a lot of people think that was a thing that happened in the past when white fellas first got here, but it's still going on to this day. They're still removing their children off of them for nothing, because and there's still there's so much displacement and so much trauma that these people have been through, and a lot of their people don't live to an old age. They're quite sensitive, physically and spiritually. Donnie was telling me today that all he wants to do is walk his country, and he can't. They've been cut off from their dreaming tracks. They've been cut off from their song lines. They've been, they've been cut off from their special places, from their bush tucker, and yeah,
you stole my one big question. You've answered it already, because I was going to say, it's one thing us isolating over here, without getting into the topic in depth, but how does that affect an Australian? I mean, Donnie, you know, how does that affect you when you can't get out and about the way you used to? You know, like you said, like Jess said there, you feel cut off, you know?
Well, it's really funny there, Kev, because my mob has been through this before. Like, we were put on missions and reserves and isolated from the rest of them. We were like white society. It's sort of like, a second coming.
Yeah.
If you want to make a better word for it. It is hard because I still like to walk country. It makes me feel good and make me feel good spiritually and bodily. And it's really hard when you sit at home and do nothing, just smoke and drink a cup of tea all the time, and it starts to get a bit boring.
Yeah, I can imagine, man. And if it's okay with you, Anne Marie, I want to stick with Donnie just a moment because you're out there, you're walking about, and when Jess sent me some images today, my eyes lit up, Donnie, because what I was looking at over here in the UK, we would call it wild man activity. If it was over in America, they would say it's the Bigfoot. But you've been like taking pictures of trees that are broken, and for me, these are what we would call over here anyway evidence of Bigfoot type activity. I want to get your take. I'll let you explain to the listeners what we're looking at with this tree here, Donnie. I'm not sure if you can see it, but it's one of the ones that's just
That's
pure
the
snap.
male fella. You know, with the tree, and he break it. And show these, masculinity thing, what do they call that? That he's a grown.
Alpha male. Yeah.
Yeah, like an alpha male.
Yeah.
And that's why they break the tree like that.
So over there,
And Donnie, you were telling me a bit about rune binding as well and how they communicate with each other.
Yeah, they use what I can gather with it is that similar to rune binding, orgam, and petroglyph. To tell each other stories in tree structures.
Now, over there they call them the Yowie, right?
Yeah.
And
that's the white fellow word for it. That's the white fellow word. It's the actual right proper word for around this area is Yahoo or Yowie.
Yahoo.
There's two different types, isn't there, Donnie?
Yeah. And then there's the one they call the Yowie. He's just the normal one you see up in the bush. The Yowie is the spiritual one.
Yeah.
Whoa, now hang on. I mean, I don't think I've ever heard this before anywhere, Jess, Donnie, Anne Marie. We've got like a Yahoo and a Yowie, and one of them's physical, one of them's spiritual.
Yes, that's right.
Brother, you got to tell me more about this. This is fascinating. I mean, what other stories do you have on these things?
Well, I can tell you a little bit of a story. It's not my story, so I can't tell you the full story. When the first Kamilaroi man came and he died, the Yowie, which is the spiritual one, gathered his body and soul up and took him up into a giant tree. And then he got amongst the branches there. In that tree were two cockatoos nesting. With a heap of flames and smoke, the tree took off up into the heavens with the Kamilaroi man's body and spirit. And today, if you look up, you'll see the two cockatoos chasing their tree. And it's the shape of the Southern Cross.
Wow. Oh, Jess, I'm gonna hand it back to you, Jess. I'm kind of wowed. I'm yowied or yahooed and yuied and all sorts at the moment. But Donnie, that's awesome, brother. Awesome. I could probably talk to you for hours, but Jess, I want you to kind of take over here, take the reins, because you know the information we're going to, and I could just sit talking to these two for hours just to listen to them. So
I'm sure they wouldn't mind.
Well, I think, the audience would probably prefer that we get some structure to this. So I'm going to stop getting so excited. I'll give it to you, and I'm going to sit back and enjoy this.
So Donnie also tracks the Yowie, the solid one. Sorry, the Yuri. Is that, did I get it mixed up, Donnie? Yeah, so you track them, and you're tracking one at the moment, aren't you, mate? And have you had a few sightings? You told me about the first sighting.
I found some tree structures.
Yeah. So when you were 11, Donnie, do you want to tell us about when you were 11 years old?
Oh, the one at 11-year-old.
Yeah.
That up in Queensland, there on the Queensland border.
Yeah. We
were out shooting bunnies to go to sell, make a bit of pocket money. And anyway, we were late coming back, so we walked along the railway tracks, me and my brother, and we spied this, like a man standing in the distance, but he was big, and he screamed at us. And we took off, left the rabbits behind, gone, got out of there. Come back the next day, and all the rabbits were all gone. That's the first time I ever seen a Yowie or Yowie.
And you track them? You actually track these things?
Yeah, I've been tracking one around my area here for close to 3 years.
And Anne-Marie, you're sitting nodding there. You see, I take it things like this. Over here, when we talk about the cryptids and the woo, it's like, oh, something special, but it's almost like a part of life, the way you're sitting there kind of just nodding away, right?
Yeah. Me and brother were saying earlier that what we want to tell you is that all that stuff you talk about, that's natural everyday stuff to us. And we giggle sometimes because all the proof you have, and everyone's still wondering, is it real? Is it real? And we laugh and go, and of course they're real. All our cultures are based around stuff like that.
Yes.
And Anne-Marie told me the other day for the first time ever, she was telling me about blackfella telephone or bush telegraph. She knew
Yeah,
that
we done
Donnie
it.
was... Hey, Donnie?
Yeah, we done it on Kev Baker's show. I called out to Luna.
Yeah.
And she heard me. Came on.
Yeah, they can hear each other and they can talk telepathically. And this is something, see, I've worked with them for years and I still learn things all the time about them that I didn't know. And yeah, this is one thing that I didn't know, was that a lot of them have these gifts and they can talk to each other telepathically. And that a lot of the kids nowadays are being brainwashed out of accepting their gifts.
I'll tell them that.
Yeah, you go, Anne-Marie, because you talking about this the other day.
I found being aware of these gifts, because I was born in the woo, Kev. I had no choice about it. It was there. What I saw was there, and I just had to learn to live with it. And as me and brother were saying, that we do the best and respect our gifts and hope that we get more and can be like the old people of the old times. But what I've noticed in this young community now is a lot of our young people are gifted, and they can either see or they have energy, because there's things like lightning. I met a lightning man and lightning comes from his hands, and it's displayed in our young people. But instead of coming to the elders now or the spiritual ones to find out what's going on, they go to the doctors or the psychologists and they put them on drugs.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really damaging our people in that area. And I've done research trying to call out to these psychologists that, look, what's happening to these people, it's a spiritual thing. They're not in the head. We call it wamba. When you're crazy in the head, we call it wamba. And there's a difference between wamba and the spirit people talking to you and the ancestors talking.
It's Donnie's son again.
Hi, Kev.
Hey, Edward. It's really nice to meet you, brother. And a big shout out to Edward, because I think Edward was instrumental in getting our good friend Donnie on here. But that's really interesting you say that, you know. So you're talking about, like, on the show, we talk about maybe going through a change right now, like a change of the age, maybe us becoming more aware telepathically, stuff like that. We've thrown about, you know, maybe telekinesis, things that we maybe once used to do, but we've forgotten how, or we've become disconnected. Would you say then you're actually witnessing something like that in the young people over there then?
Yeah, I'd say that they're having these symptoms of these different gifts, But because we live in a world of technology now, you know, the young ones are fast. They don't even, it's hard for them to sit still for 5 minutes. So these gifts will come anyway. And usually when they get to teenager and that, it'll kick in really tight. And that's when the trouble starts. And they get out in community and do all the wrong things. And us aunties are there going, what are you doing? And some of them just go overboard, you know. And because, like, Sister was saying earlier, our people suffer from stuff, right? I won't deny that. It's not a happy world. We do suffer from stuff. And it's generational also, so it's just passed on and that. We deal with all that, but sometimes it affects our young, and they do go overboard. A lot of young people now are having stress-related stuff and illnesses and breakdowns and stuff we never heard of when we were all kids because we had
And
the rain.
suicides as well.
Yeah, suicides, drug problems, you know, her mental health. But look at the mental health, that's when I realised, hang on, it's not all that. Yeah, they might be stressed, but they're displaying gifts and there's no one to tell them otherwise. And trying to fit what is it, a round peg in a square hole? It's like that. But trying to live in whitefella society, having this ancient call inside you, screaming out at the same time. It's
hard enough trying to just operate in this world, Jess, let alone having two separate worlds pulling at you, you know, and nobody willing to listen to you. You go to the doctor, you go and seek help, and like Anne-Marie said there, the worst thing happens. They put you on these drugs and that connection totally severed.
Yeah.
Yes.
And when I met Brother, I realised what I'm about is getting the other people in my mob that have gifts and are spiritually inclined to pull together and actually intervene here. Because in our way, when the tribe was there, when you were born, they'd watch her, or the elders would watch her. And if you showed spiritually inclined things, they'd take you away and test you out. And the ones that pass the test, they'd train them up.
So
and
over in America,
they've got an initiation type process.
Oh, the Native Americans, they would have the medicine man. What's your equivalent of that then?
Same. Yeah.
Same.
Clever man.
Clever man.
Clever what? Kadaja.
Kadachi man.
Kadachi man, yeah. A lot of names, there's different names, different levels, different things. What I did want to say, I was talking last night, Jed had done a lot of talking in the last few days. When the whitefellas first come here, they killed our elders and our men stood up to protect the women. And what we didn't tell them was that there's clever men, there's clever women as well, but the men stood in front of us because they knew that if they killed us clever women and the matriarchal system, that would be totally annihilated. So you don't hear about clever women, you don't hear about medicine women, you don't hear much about healing women. We try to stay on the edge because we're the last remnants. I'm going to cry. We're the last remnants of that. And when we meet Donnie, brother, was a real honour because there's a brother that understands. And a lot in the community of today, a lot of our people adopted other religions, and it's hard to find aunties and uncles that know culture. And when you do, it's a real pleasure because we believe in reincarnation. We believe in a lot of stuff. Sorry, I'm just getting emotional. Hang on.
That's okay. That's okay. That's okay. And Donnie, I remember when I was in the army, and it's a funny story, but there's a serious side to it, and you'll see why, because we used to drink far too much in the army, and one of my mates, he decided, that's it, no more drink. And we were like that, yeah, whatever. This guy used to drink beer like it was water, you know? And he came back from the town one day, and he had this kind of box on him, a long box thing, and we're looking at him, we're going, what on earth have you got there? He says, I've got it sussed, I know how to stop drinking, I'm going to teach myself how to play the didgeridoo. And he had this didgeridoo, he'd got it out of a second-hand shop, he's playing this instrument, but you know, he couldn't play it worth 2 monkeys, right? But when I listened to that, when you felt it, Donnie, there's something about that instrument, and I've asked Jess about this before, but there's almost something magical about the vibration, the noise that comes off that, and you could feel it right to your heart when this guy was trying to play it. And me and my mates used to say, imagine if you had somebody that knew what they were doing with the didgeridoo. But what's the didgeridoo to you, Donnie? I mean, I take it it's a lot more than just an instrument, right?
Yeah, the didgeridoo belongs to the mob up north, but it's starting to slowly come down this way.
Younger mob. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, I find them, they sort of, in my perspective, they sort of cleanse you and it puts you in an aura totally different, for want of a better word. I'm not real good at words, but that's what it does to you. It sort of draws all that bad vibes out of you and brings in a big, better vibe.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah.
And it can be quite healing as well. And I was talking to Anne-Marie. Their mob uses clapsticks. A lot of mobs use clapsticks, which actually hits a similar frequency to yidaki or what's the word for it that you called it? Didgeridoo. That's right. Yeah, they call it yidaki, but yeah, same sort of frequency, and it's a frequency that resonate. There you go. There's some clapsticks there.
Men's clapsticks, women's clapsticks.
Yeah, and that the sound they put off resonates with nature as well. Like it's the same frequency as nature, and nature responds back as well to that sound. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I'll hand that over to Anne-Marie and she can finish telling you about what it does and what it's for.
Okay. Yeah, that's right. Nature does respond in a beautiful way when you go down and you play didge or clapsticks. The women, we don't play didge. There's only one mob up top where the yidaki and didge come from. The women there are allowed to play didge, and they're the only mob because it's a man's thing. And when we play didge, because of the vibration of it, if a woman plays it, it interferes with your reproductive systems and it can cause trouble. So, but if a man plays didge over you in a healing way, so if it's a healer man and he plays as the didge, he plays it over you in a healing way, that's a different thing because the energy's coming from a man.
Wow.
So we use the clapsticks, the women, and we have a few items, the digging stick and the clapsticks. I'll just play a little bit. We use it in our dancing and privately and ceremonially, all different ways. The men have clapsticks, as you saw, they were bigger, and they also use their boomerangs, which makes a different sound at corroboree time. But that's men's business. I don't really get into that. So that's just soft. But that sound clears your energy and it sings on nature's vibration, which got me into researching this Hertz music.
Yeah.
And you'll be proud to know that in my research, Kev, the song Amazing Grace, when played also with bagpipes, hits all the healing Hertz music. And it's one of only 2 European songs that does that.
Yeah, the bagpipes they're a very powerful tool. I call them a tool because there's definitely something about them as well. You know, I'd never even really thought about how the bagpipes make you feel, and it is similar to when I think about when I heard that didgeridoo as well. So there's definitely something to this vibration and the whole universe, Jess. It's all based on vibration, tone, and I think you know, we're so arrogant. We like to think that we're the be all and end all. You know, we talk about when Australia starting, when the white man went there, how ridiculous that is in the first place, right? But I think if we are going to move forward as like a planet, I think we need to go backwards. I think we need to talk to. I think we need to talk to people like Donnie and people like Anne-Marie, and everything we need's here. But if we're not careful over time, another couple of generations or so, then how long is this knowledge really going to be there? So again, I'm going to give it to you again, Jess, and I'm going to shut up this time, and I'll let you take us where we need to go.
Well, it's interesting you were talking about going back to the older ways, because I was talking to Donnie today, and we were talking about how, because he works with a lot of Aboriginal archaeologists, because he's a sites officer and that, and he reckons that, us archaeologists in general were just really left brain and really arrogant and won't open our hearts up to spirit and all the rest of it.
Gammon, you gammon. No, you're not.
Well, we're not taught that sort of when you do your degree, even though the majority of people we work with are Aboriginal people, because you want to be an archaeologist in Australia, well, that's who you're going to be working with. And so having that in mind, to me, it's just incredible that they don't teach any of this sort of stuff to us while we're doing our degrees. It really comes down to the individual archaeologist having to seek that out and learn those ways. And I was talking to Donnie about how I'd love to go out bush and learn how to find bush tucker and learn about the signs that nature gives you, and here it's hard because no one's teaching that here in South Australia. Up in New South Wales and Queensland and that, where Donnie and Marie are from, there is people teaching that sort of stuff.
So Jess, for us silly Scots people and that, I mean, you're down the south, aren't you, of Australia? So
yeah.
Whereabouts is Donnie and Anne-Marie? Are they up the coast or?
East Coast.
Yeah.
Yeah, on the East Coast.
Got you.
You're both in New South Wales, eh?
Yep.
Yeah, I'm near Tamworth, New South Wales. Anne-Marie's in Sydney.
Yeah.
I'm at the bottom of the mountains. Yeah.
Oh, Jason.
Awesome show, ladies and gents. Are the Maori people similar to Aborigines, and do they have a similar history?
It's a good question. It's a good question, but what do you make of that? The Maoris and the Aboriginals?
Are you asking me or?
No, I'll ask Anne-Marie. I know where to go now, Jess.
Well, that's an interesting story. We are like brothers and sisters again. A lot of we call them Māoris. That's how we say it, Māori. But a lot of the Maori people have come to here and married up with our people, and we've been integrated, and we've been intertwined like that. A lot of dreams that I've spoke to people about, they've dreamt with the Maori people. We know, how can I put it, when we have community, there's Maori people there and we just accept them as ours and they feel at home here. So without going too much and having another show and inviting Maori friends on that I know, we've got
the
this,
difference,
we have a kinship.
Yeah.
The difference I could recognise is that Maori people actually have a treaty with their government. So they actually forced white folks when they came to pretty much like a bit of a treaty, for lack of a better word, because the Maori were so fierce in battle that despite the fact that they didn't have technology, they didn't have guns and everything, they just couldn't beat them because they were just so fierce in battle, and they just would not give up. So they eventually had to enter into a treaty with the Maori people to be able to stay, basically. So Maori people have a lot more say over, have had from the beginning a lot more say over what goes on over there, whereas Aboriginal people have never signed a treaty, still have not to this day signed a treaty at all, and still have not given any permission at all for anything that's been done here. So I think that's the major difference that I know of between them.
Now there's another group of people that we've been talking about when we spoke before, Jess, and I think you even sent a picture along these lines as well, and it's the Egyptian people, and you get the hieroglyphs. And was there an exchange of knowledge? Which way did it go? Where do you want to take it on this one, Jess? I'll hand it over to you, because I know we've got a picture here as well somewhere, right?
That picture, Donnie sent that one to me. Donnie, I don't know if you remember, mate, that was a while ago you sent me that one. that was found near your
That's
place
on the Moonby Ranges. That was.
on the Moonby
That's it.
Ranges.
See that where that wall is? I sent you the photo of that wall.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, well, that artifact was supposed to be found not far from there, but they've done damage down there. They put a new road in. I can't find that artifact no more.
Oh, okay, yep. And is that near Gosford? Are you guys near Gosford or not, Donnie?
I'm about 4 hours away from Gosford.
Yeah. So, and this is a separate site. This isn't from Gosford, is it? This is from Moonby.
Yes.
Moonby Ranges.
So this is actually a separate site from Gosford, then, yeah?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. So
There also was a stone wall there. There was actually a temple there.
yeah.
It's in the inscription. It means there was a temple there.
Wow.
Yeah, that's the ruins of a temple.
Yeah.
And so it's more than one spot that these inscriptions have been found. And from all the information from the Gosford glyphs, it was apparent that ancient Egyptian royalty was coming here to be schooled in the spiritual matters by the Aboriginal people, because even though ancient Egyptians were quite technologically advanced, spiritually, Aboriginal people have always been considered the most advanced people on the earth. So, and I think, did I talk to you, Anne-Marie, a bit about it? Did I ask you, I think, before my last show with Kev, a bit about them? Did you know anything about
Egyptian stuff? Yeah, because what I want to say, jumping back and forward all over the place, because
we knew that would happen.
When you're talking about the Maoris, yeah, what you said was right. The difference is they put all their warriors up. We didn't. The reason we didn't do it was we had people coming here the whole time. So what happened is, when they came, there were always people here from all over. So why would we send our warriors up to someone new when everyone else was here all the time? There's Egyptian stuff everywhere, even where I live locally, Mulgoa. When the settlers first came and started digging up the earth, they found like little monuments and just took them away. But we were all aware of that because we always traded with everyone all over the world, and we don't forget that.
Well, is there stories of people or maybe beings coming from really elsewhere? Maybe not by sea, but...
Oh, yeah. Put on your woo suit, Kev.
Yeah, you knew I was going to go here. You knew I was going to go here eventually. But talk to me then. I mean,
man.
ancient aliens. What say you to all of that stuff?
All right. What do I say?
You're talking about by army there, Anne-Marie.
Right, you say, bro, and I'll tag along. No, we're not lucky.
You were telling me about that Altringa stone, Donnie. Tell us about that Altringa stone.
Oh, Altringa stone, yeah. I believe what Bruce R. Fenton talks about it, because the old story goes that they held the spirits of our creators in these stones. And Bruce Fenton calls them a Bracewell probe.
Okay.
Yeah, that were left here on this planet to where we got up to a certain, what you call it, technology or spirituality.
Level of consciousness, yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Start to talk to you and tell them about the story of our civilization coming around. That's I've seen one. They are scary to go near. I had to, when this old bloke brought it out and showed me, I had to get out of the room. It was just too much for me. I had to go. So I went outside and sat out and outside. I had a smoke because they're too powerful for me. I won't go near them.
Wow.
And they're said to be connected to the Pleiadians, and that when you get to the point where you can handle that vibration and that information, then they basically act as a communication device.
Yeah, that's the words I was trying to find. Thanks, Jess.
Okay, right.
No
My
worries.
my head's blowing. My head is blowing wide open. Anne Marie's sitting smiling there because I know she can take this further. Look at her. I can feel it.
Yeah. Yeah, something else I wanted
And
to tell.
Kev, those were the stones, the Turinga stones in the last show we did with Bruce,
Yep.
with the same symbols on them as at Göbekli Tepe.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember.
Oh, I
So
remember.
there's
Yeah.
a connection there as well between those Turinga stones and Göbekli Tepe too.
Is that?
So,
Was it the handbag? Was it the little bag symbol?
yeah.
Yeah.
Knowledge bag. We're talking about that knowledge bag.
Yeah. Yeah. It makes sense. It
That's-
contains the knowledge.
That's
Yeah.
the knowledge bag.
Yeah.
Is that what
Marie,
he
you go.
Donnie, man, I tell you, listen, this is already like one of the most interesting shows. Not to put any other show down that I've done recently, but I am in awe, man. I want to be sitting there with you. But Anne Marie, come on, I'm dying to hear because I know that you've got something to take this even deeper. I can
I've
feel
got
it.
lots of things, Kev. I've had experience with them fellas, and how they say we come from the stars, and to the stars we shall return, like Sister
Yeah,
said.
that's right.
But I haven't actually seen one like Brother, but I do hear them, and I know when they're around. And me and my husband have been up the mountains here and had experiences. One of them left us speechless. We're sitting on a cliff face up near Katoomba, which is actually Bayami's footprint. If you look at Katoomba from the air, you can see a giant's footprint that makes the whole cliff face. So you have to go on Google and look up in the air, Lake Katoomba, and the Three Sisters, you'll see that. So we're sitting up there. The kids are playing behind us because the place we were in was a place where black fellas sort of hung out, and there was a cave, and it was a family place like. So the kids are playing behind us, and we're just sitting on this cliff and dangling our legs. And right on this side of us was a sheer cliff face. And this silent, everything went silent. When things go silent in the bush, you know to listen because there's something wrong. You should hear noises all the time. Everything went dead silent. And we're just sitting there, and all I can explain it to be is the shape of a paper aeroplane, full aeroplane size, but it was silver, metallic, shiny, and it just glided in and then went straight into the cliff face and disappeared. Now, me and me hubby, we sat there for like 5 minutes just sitting there digesting what we just saw. And then I just turned to him and I said, "You saw that, didn't you, eh?" And he goes, "Yep, I saw it." And we sat there for another 10 or 15 minutes digesting and just got up and said, "Come on, kids, we're going home." And we've never really spoke about it after that. We just know that it was happening. There's a place called Kyogle in the rainforest, a bit further up north from where we are. And I was staying there with some friends out on property, and that property was real special because we have men's and women's business and men's areas and women's areas, and the men aren't allowed near the women's areas, women's aren't allowed there. So if you're walking along the bush and you come to an area and you're not allowed to enter, you just stop, you won't go. This place was women's area. I was doing my stuff, looking after my kids, and I had this sensation come over me. And they said, visitors are here, run outside. I ran outside, and I call them long ships. They're long cigar-shaped ones. And there it was, sitting in the sky on a plain day. There was no clouds in the sky except this long ship. And damn, there was no one around to yell out, "Can you see that?" Because they were all off in the bush doing all their businesses. And I was by myself at home doing just woman's business, you know, washing the clothes and stuff like that. And I'm just standing there going, "Man, it's a long ship, it's a long ship." So from that day, I started looking for long ships, and you can see them if you have a look.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I don't know what to say to that, Jess. I'm in awe. I'll hand it back to you again because I know you've got lots of notes there, and I'm going to zip up
And
there.
Donnie's seen a lot of UFOs as well. It's a UFO hotbed here. It really is in Australia. And I don't think I've met many people really that haven't had some form of experience here. And I know Donnie's seen a fair bit as well. Donnie, if you wanted to get into any of that.
Yeah, can you show Kev that photo?
Oh, I haven't sent him that one. Hang on, I'll send it through to him now.
Okay, I'll
Two
get it
seconds.
here.
Hang on.
Well, if I had wanted to go to Australia before, I want to go even more now. I'm telling you. But don't panic. Don't panic. I'll get a haircut before I come. What is going on with us? I'm telling you.
Oh, you'd be most welcome, Kev. You and your family. Me and Donnie would welcome you, and we'd yeah.
I welcome you on country there, brother.
Oh, I tell you, I'd be there in a heartbeat, Donnie. I really would. I feel like I know you already, man. You're just one of these
That's
people.
an honour.
Anne Marie
That's
as
an honour
well.
for someone to say they're going to take you on country.
So did you send me that picture, Jess?
I did, yeah, Kev.
Oh,
yep.
wow. Right,
it.
hang on then. Wow. Right, okay, let's bring this up.
Yeah, now there's a little funny story that went with this one, Kev. We're sitting on the veranda there, me and my kids. My youngest daughter said, I was looking up at this funny star. She said, Dad, could I take a photo of that? And I said, here, I handed her the phone. I said, here, take a photo, take a photo. So she took a photo of it and the flash went off. And that star took off. And she threw the phone at me and it took off inside and hid underneath the bed. It frightened her.
No wonder. Look at that thing. Now,
Yeah.
so we've got the whole Palladian thing with the stones that we talked about. I mean,
Yeah.
And
do we?
Seven Sisters, their Seven Sisters story as well, which is literally directly links to the Pleiades. I don't know if either of you guys know, or you probably one of you or both of you do know, because it's the only story that's the same all throughout Australia, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Yeah, yeah.
Do you want to tell that one, Donnie?
Well, I don't know the full story of it, so might be able to put that over to Anne Marie.
Oh,
But
thanks, brother. I don't know
something.
the full story either.
But,
I know about them. I know they left one sister behind. One sister got
yes,
left behind.
that's Dave's sister. She held the sacred crystals.
Yeah.
That's the story I was told.
Do you think that crystal thing has a connection to Lemuria at all, Anne Marie? Do you know about the Lemurian crystal connection?
No, not really. I've heard non-Aboriginal people talk about Lemuria and Mu, but for us, even my children, as they're growing up, and I didn't even have to tell them, they're going, oh, Mum, we know about the way the land used to be and how it looked like, but it was called something different.
Yeah.
And, so... but I don't know a lot about. I haven't researched a lot about, that area yet. You know,
like we were going back to before. You know, like a lot of Anne Marie's information comes directly from spirit. So she doesn't do a lot of research. She just knows a lot of things, and it's because spirit tells her a lot of those things. Whereas I'm like the opposite end of the scale. I'm just going to read everything and research everything. So
what I try to do is either have a witness when there's a spirit thing on, and I'll tell you the story about it because there's witnesses, or I'll do research to try and connect what I know with something in the world. To have something tangible, because I'm a real practical person, and because I'm a spiritual woman and I spend most of my time up in the air, I need to be grounded. So, and being a mum of six, I have to be practical with everything I do. So to me, it's just natural to make spirituality practical. And Creator gave me a gift of being able to explain, and a lot of my people have said that, Creators, you've got the way of the words, you can explain these gifts. And I know I have, and I think it's time I used them.
I think you're right there. Absolutely. I think we all need to hear a lot more of Luna, don't we, Jess?
Yeah.
Absolutely. And actually, Luna told me something today that stuck with me, and I'm just trying to find where it is, Luna. Something like knowledge brings understanding, understanding brings forgiveness, forgiveness brings love, and love brings healing. And she just came up with that on the spot, and I was like, wow, that's because we were talking about how we need to start getting this knowledge out to the world. And, you know, a lot of people don't know much at all, if anything, about Aboriginal people and Aboriginal culture. And, you know, they've been very secretive with a lot of it because, you know, that's been their prerogative and that's been their directive as well from spirit for so long. But now seems to be the time, you know, there's big change coming and all the Aboriginal people know there's big change coming. And I'll hand that back over to you guys anyway, because you guys know something is coming and have known for a long time, and you guys are out after this. You're out. You're not coming back here. So
Yeah,
I'll
true.
let you talk about that.
So this is like really important stuff here, and yeah, I mean this was a big part of when Jess said, you know, there was a chance we could get the show happening. The time that we're in right now, I don't know, it feels critical to me, and I think if any messages need to get out there, then probably now would be the time. And that's why I really appreciate that you're coming on here, yourself and Donnie. I can't thank you both enough, honestly. You're like a brother and sister to me, and I've only spoke to you once, but
Yeah, I know.
you're just family I haven't met yet, although I've met you this way, but it's never the same. But you know me. And I'll give it to you, Anne-Marie, because I really want to hear what it is that's coming down the pike at us, you know?
Okay, well, a lot of there's a lot of fear in the air because of everything that's happened, and trying to see through that fear so you can see clear and what you see isn't tainted by fear is very hard. And when this began, I sent a message out through my community. I went down to the river and I made a message on video and clapsticks, and it said, in these uncertain times, Creator and the Mother have always been certain. And I know one thing, Kev, if you go outside right now, the sky, the earth, and everything in between, all the animals are really happy and joyous. They're coming out of their things. They're walking up the streets in all over countries, right? And while I know that's happy, I know we're okay. And that's her way and Creator's way of saying for us to lift our vibrations and don't fill ourselves with fear of any kind. Whatever's in your world, don't, and it has fear on it, don't accept it. Know that we're beautiful beings. Creator made us that way. We are multi-gifted and talented, because when you love someone and laugh, that is the best way to begin, because your light shines straight away and it's contagious. Well, watch that word, eh? And one person lifts another, and that's what we're here to do. We're one to lift another, and we should be caring and loving for each other. And that goes back to when Mr. Cook burned his food and came here and did the wrong thing. We greeted him with love and compassion. We fed them. We healed them because they were sick from their long journey. And that's just who we are. We're healers. We love the earth. We understand the Mother and Creator and the way things move here. And to us, it's a natural thing. And once a long time ago, everyone's people knew that. Your people knew it, Kev.
Yep.
The white fella, the Celtic, every tradition knew that balance. But slowly it all got chopped off, and we were just the last ones to have it chopped off, right? It was only 230 years ago that they brought all this pain and that to us. But we're the beginning place, and we've all just come all full circle. And now we're back to where we started, which means that's the end of the show. It doesn't mean things are going to finish. It just means a different way of things are going to happen. And finally, I believe truly in my heart it's the proper way is going to be in. We call it proper way when everything's balanced and nature's singing and all the things are done the right way and everyone's doing the right thing. We just call it proper way. And proper way will come. I know that. So don't be afraid. Please don't be afraid. And we all look after each other. Our telepathic connections goes to your land and your people and your ancestors too, because in the past we were all tied together. We did all know each other. So, you know, now we're all coming back together and there's no stopping us now. Hey, look, we're on the Kim Baker tree.
When people like me and Nano Girl then, she's uncanny. And I've started to kind of pick this up myself now. I don't know how I've done it, but she used to be able to message me randomly and it would be whatever was going on in my life, I would be down. And she would honestly, it was like she could hear my thoughts because she'd be like,
That's
Kev, do
it.
you want to talk? And I'm thinking,
Yep.
how can you even know that? You know?
Yeah.
Bush
Natural.
telegraph.
That's bush telegraph. That's bush telegraph.
Yep.
Yes, bush telegraph.
No, it absolutely is. It's like a quantum kind of connection, I call it, but it's more it's an organic thing, and I don't know, because recently, I'm not saying I've got that, but it's like you just get a sense for something. Like you come across somebody and you know instantly if they're good or bad, or you look at a story and right away you can see through it, or you can feel there's something there. And I can't control it. I can't explain it. Sometimes it happens. Sometimes it doesn't. But is that us starting to reconnect then?
Yep. It's in the air now, and it's like the light shining all through the darkness. And we're becoming, well, those that are connected and want to listen, because there are those people that don't listen and they deny it all. But those that are connected and want to listen and feel it, you can feel it, you witnessed it, it's practical, it's in your life. Yes, it's true. And that's the way we walk, and we're all going to wake up and go, hey, it was there the whole time. It's just that they had us all distracted believing it's not true. But our people never forget it, because it's in our breath, it's in our movement. We walk it, we dream it. It's just part of us, and we can't deny it. And I found, I don't know about you, brother, but if I tried to shut it out when I was a teenager and be a normal teenager, and instead of shutting it out, it just banged on the door louder, flew the door open, and made me look like a complete idiot, because it just came screaming out of me. And I realised that I had to walk with it. Otherwise, it'll just make me do stupid things and be there anyway.
Wow. Oh, wow. Jess.
She's good, isn't she? She's good.
Big time. Big time.
I got a story. The story to go behind that was, everyone knows I write. Oh, can I be funny now? I've been waiting all night.
Oh, yes, please. It's the Kev
So for all
Baker
you
show. We're
writers
mad and
out
funny
there,
here.
When we die, we get rode on a Dreamtime chopper to Dreamtime. Check this out.
Now, that is what I call a bike.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm trying to hold it up properly. Everything's backwards on the computer.
Oh, it looks good here. It looks
maybe.
good here. Yeah, it looks good.
Yeah, cool. That's Dreamtime chopper. What was I saying? That was funny. I was just being funny.
So listen, what do you...
You know how much stress me and Donnie went through?
I tell you, I can imagine. I can't imagine. I remember Jess as well the first time she came on, and you see, there's nothing to be nervous about, you know. And I have to ask then, what's your take on the ghosts? We talk about poltergeists. We talk about this. We talk.
Spirits.
Yeah, I mean, are there good ones and bad ones, or are they all good? What would you say to that?
Oh, spirits. All right. Do you want to say anything, Donnie? Because I'm hogging all this, bro.
No, you're right there. I go.
All right. Okay. So
Me.
what we need to tell you is, and we don't talk about the dark ones.
Ah.
Because you give them energy, and they'll know you're talking about them, and they'll come and get you.
Yep.
Yeah, like the crocodile.
Yeah, and if they dwell in a place, we get told you don't go there. There's bad spirit there. We're not dumb enough to go. I watch these spirit hunter people, and they go to dark places. And hey, Johnny, you'd be like me sitting there going, "Oh no, don't go in there, don't go in there."
Oh, that's mad, them fellas.
Now, you see, that's really interesting, you know, because we talk on the show a lot about, you know, you start talking about something, you attract it towards you. It's like intention. So it stands to reason, you know, you're talking about these things, you go looking for them. You shouldn't act surprised when you get them manifesting, right?
That's right. But we do have spirit stories because our ancestors are in the spirit and they come visit us. And I'll tell you a real quick one because I got one of my sister girls here, and we were at a campfire one night, and it was getting to around 3 o'clock in the morning, and the spirit said it's time for you to go to bed, Anne-Marie, because things change at that time, as everyone knows.
Yep.
Anyway, sister girl here was yarning up and didn't want me to go to bed, and Colin, just talk a bit more because we're partying on. And I'm like, look, I can't go. All of a sudden, you could hear a rustle in the leaves, like someone's walking there, but there's no one there, right? I looked up, and there's a blackfella spirit, and I went, oh, who are you? He goes, oh, I'm one of Ursula's friends. He was one of my other Aboriginal friends' ancestors. He said, oh, I come to see what was going on here. You should be in bed. And I went, yeah, I know. And at that moment, he leaned in front of my face, and my sister girl here pooped herself, gunned herself, because she saw my face morph to his face and just sat there like that. Oh. And
Whoa.
I just went, hey, I got to go to bed now because they're telling me I got to go to bed. See ya. I felt his face go in front of mine, but I didn't realise that she could see it.
Oh, wow, man. That's like goosebump material. But I know that,
Yeah, so
Anne Marie, you make stuff as well, right? I mean, you
oh,
make.
yeah.
I'd
I'm a
love to
weaver.
show some of your stuff to the audience. I'd love to show them what you've been making. So I'll bring some of it up here.
You do that.
I'll bring that one on here. So you can tell us what this is here. What are we looking at there?
All right, they're the women's skirts because you know I make women's stuff. Anyway, so the string skirt there is a gumla, and that's our what I call everyday clothing, and we wear it to corroborees just to cover our bits, and it's like an informal thing. And there's the headband that goes with it there, and in the book is another string skirt, but that's from Peru, and it's called a kipu, but it's identical to what we make, as you can see in that picture.
Yeah, it is. It's
And that's from a
absolutely
long
the
time
same.
ago. Yeah, and it's
that's Lynn Kelly's book, The Memory Code, which is actually a brilliant book.
And the feathered skirt there is made out of emu feathers, and that's our formal wear. So and that shows respect to our men. So when we went to a corroboree, and it was a special one, and they invited us because invitation is a big thing in our culture. You've got to be invited. If they invited us, we'd wear that feathered skirt like a formal type of clothes to say respect to the men. Thank you for inviting us, and we're wearing our formal stuff as a show to respect.
Wow.
And that feathered skirt is beautiful. It's so soft. It's absolutely beautiful to see in reality and touch.
It does. It looks lovely. And then you've got this one here.
Yeah. And this is what we call our dilly bags. I can't remember what they're called in language, but I make all this stuff. And the bags. Sorry, bro. What were they called?
They're called mangara.
Mangara. Yeah, I don't know language. See, I'm learning still. Mangara. So they're mangara, right? And dilly bag, basically, if you need the bag, you can make it out of anything. But traditionally, when we had time, we made them more pretty, and there's some different varieties there. And what I found doing my research, reaching out into Europe, and I love lace, and I love like Victorian clothes and lace. And I thought, I'm getting old now, I want to learn how to make lace. And I think it's called thread lace or something like that. And I looked it up, and it's like from the 14th century, 13th, 15th century, around there. And they'd make, and this is actually, I don't know if it's Celtic or I've got to research it a bit more, but the stitches, I realised when I was looking at this lace, is exactly like in our bag. So that pink one and that half-made brown one, which I haven't finished, it actually displays the different stitches that they use and that we use.
There's that connection again around the world.
A very, very strong connection I'm feeling here. And even when I think about when the British turned up in Australia, you know, people there, your people, you went through something similar that my Scottish ancestors went through here for hundreds of years, you know, and it's unforgivable, really, you know. And again, I know nowadays there's this craziness that, you know, we should all feel guilty about what happened thousands of years ago. I mean, I wasn't there, I wasn't responsible, but I tell you what, the way the world is now, we went wrong somewhere a long time ago, right? Really, really badly wrong. And just to emphasize again, if we don't start looking backwards and getting back in touch with the kind of things that we're talking about here, and we can still have that technology, we just need to find a balance, you know? I'm not talking about us going to live in caves or anything, folks. I'm just talking about us appreciating where we are. You know, if you go and stay with a friend, when you go to their house, you're really respectful, aren't you? You look after it, you try and leave it the way you got there, and, you know, the Earth's no different. And we should be looking after that. And I get it, we've gone wrong big time. But I hope today, and I'm sure we've still got more to talk about yet, because Jess has got notes there and I don't want to miss anything out. But I really hope that people have got a taste for a people we rarely hear anything about, the Aboriginals. And I think there's a reason for that. I think there's a reason why the Egyptians were going there, like Jess was talking about as well. There's so much that we could learn. And one thing I do know, when they try and hide something, when they try and tell you there's nothing to look at, that's usually the place you should be going. It's usually the people you should be talking to. And I think we're just lucky, you know, that we still have the information first up, you know. And secondly, that we've got people like Donnie and Luna, you know, Anne Marie here, who are coming forward and sharing this with us, because they don't have to, you know. And I just want to thank you both immensely, honestly, for just being a part of everything we're doing here. And today, for me, I've got even goosebumps saying it. It's just been, I mean, I thought it'd be good, but it's been off the charts. Not only good, but important as well, you know.
Thank you. I was worried about disappointing you all.
Far from it.
Same me, I thought they were going to be boys, disappoint them.
Donnie, I'm going to have to do more shows in the daylight if this is the kind of information that comes out. I'm telling you, brother. Donnie, I tell you, man, there's more picture of these yowies. There's a couple of more stones here I want to show as well. I think they're probably things that you've found, but I think you've got so much more to tell as well, brother, and I can tell you're nervous, and I'm so glad you came on today, though, because I think the four of us here have been...
Get over it here now, brother.
Yeah, now that we've got you talking, we'll get you on all the time. You'll be absolutely loving it. But no, I want to thank you, man, and man to man, you know, if I could get over there right now, we would certainly go on walkabout together, and I'd be so grateful to learn anything that you can tell me about the world that's all around me and I don't even see it. Do you know what I mean? You see it, you feel it, you know how to manage it, you've got a relationship with it. And I would be very lucky indeed if I could learn something from you, brother, all right?
Yeah, I might be able to teach you how to read the bush.
Precisely.
Donnie was telling me a couple of things about how to read the bush because I said to him I'd really like to learn. And he said, well, I'll give you a couple of things, Jess, to start with. And one of them is when the currawongs start singing, they're a type of bird here. He goes, you got currawongs down there, girl? And I was like, yeah, we got currawongs. He said, well, when they start singing, you know it's cold and wet where they're coming. And when the crows start singing, you know that there's going to be a dry spell coming. So I thought that was really cool. Like just little simple things like that, you know, that we have no idea about. You know, that us white fellas have got no idea. And they, you know, the Aboriginal people, they know, they can read the signs of the bush. They know when to move on from a place. They know when, you know, rains are coming. They know when the seasons are changing. And yeah, they're just so in tune and can memorize so much through their stories and their songs and everything and their dances. It's incredible. Like that woman, Lynn Kelly, who did that book that the skirt was in, she talked about how cultures that are oratory only, that pass down their information vocally, they have to have these stories and songs and that to be able to memorize masses of amounts of information, which I could never do, you know, like doing it the method that I've been taught through uni, and that is rote learning. It's just in one ear and out the other sort of thing. But they, you know, when they learn, they encompass it. holy, you know, like through their ceremonies, through their corroborees, and yeah, they're just able to memorize masses amounts of information, masses amounts of species of different birds and insects and all sorts of things like that. It's just incredible. It's an amazing way of looking at the world.
Oh, absolutely. And Anne Marie, any kind of last thoughts you want to get out there at all? Throw it out there. And I don't know if you guys want to do this today or not, because I know it'll be getting late where you are now. But Ken, another Australian, I know you speak to Ken, Jess, and I know Ken's got a 10-minute story. So I was going to ask if you would like me to call Ken up and he can join us for 10. He's another Australian. Yep, I'll do that. So before I do that, though, Anne Marie, I'll come to you and your thoughts. I hope you enjoyed this today. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. I hope we get to talk again, either on air or off air. It doesn't bother me because I think you're a very, very, very positive person. That smile lights up a room. We can laugh, we can joke, we can even cry together. See, so
you made me cry, Kev. You and Jimmy.
see, I try not to, but no. All joking aside, thank you so much, and I'll give you the floor. Anything you want to say to anyone, anything, it's all yours.
Oh, here we are. Now you put me on the spot. No, that's all right. I want to thank you deeply from the bottom of my heart, and I want to tell everyone love to you on this day. I'd love to share our culture with you more and tell you more about us, because there's so much, AJS, there's so much that we haven't even touched on.
So much. We could be here for another 4 hours just on the notes I've got.
And I got some really, really good woo stories, and I got them divided up like stories about spirits that are white fella, but I got black fella spirit stories and just really interesting stuff. I'd love to share that with you again. I don't know, another message: walk the path of your spirit and it'll take you home, to everyone. And I won't finalise it too much because we don't really believe in goodbye, because we know we'll see you again.
Exactly.
If it isn't today, it's tomorrow, or even the next lifetime, we'll always be together. So, yeah.
And we're definitely, I'm thinking, Jess, we're going to have to organise another weekend get together. I quite like this time of day. So if this time of day suits you guys over there in Australia, we'll do it at the same time. Probably be about a month or so. We'll do it next month or something. But I'm really keen to get more of the woo out of you, Anne Marie. I know there's a lot more woo in there. And Donnie as well. Donnie, I'd love for you, if you can, if it's convenient, brother, I'd love for you to be here with us as well. And obviously, it goes without saying, Jess, I don't even have to invite you anymore. You'll be here, right?
Thanks, Kev. I really appreciate you giving me a platform again to come on and
just don't be stealing my show. Just don't be stealing it. I know that the audience are starting to love the sound of you, but I'm watching you. I'm watching. So here we go.
Time you got some female balancing yet.
I know.
I didn't show you my killer budgie feather.
Oh, what? I'll tell you what now, if that came out of a budgie, that's like a murder hornet-sized budgie. What the heck is that?
I tell him it's a prehistoric budgie feather, but it's a sea eagle. That's all right.
You see, for 1 minute there, I was thinking, if the kangaroos are 2.5 meters tall, do they really have budgies that size? That was really going through my mind there for a moment. So listen, we have got one of our...
Find out where our sense of humour is real good. I was going to say, them smileys that I put up in the chat room now, you can see, that's me. I am the smileys, man.
You are. I'm telling you. I need some of what you're drinking, Anne Marie. I really do, or whatever you're smoking. One of the two. But we have got another guest now, and he's calling all the way from Australia. Ken Rotman. And Ken's listened to the show forever. Talk to us, Ken. What's going on, man?
Just not much really tonight, but lots have been happening in here in Oz.
So, what's been happening? You told me though you've had something happening to you recently, right? You seen something, or something's been going on?
Yeah, I was living 15 years in the bush. I ended up with 5 caravans, and then I was looking after this place in a small coastal town, and my landlady, she's Dutch, but not that that has anything to do, ended up letting this other guy take over my whole property, and I ended up booted out of there after 15 years of looking after the place. But anyway, ended up in a lovely little coastal town. My goddaughter owns a house here, and then since Corona, she's lived here, and yeah, so Corona's been pretty good, really. I mean, I've ran out of nothing since. But yeah, I was standing on the porch one day here. I'd say about maybe 7 weeks ago, and like I know all the kangaroos here. I've been watching them since I've been here because they used to actually live in the property I'm at now. They got pissed off because we shifted in. Oh shit, swearing.
That's all right, brother. It's all right. We're not on radio, so it's okay. We're not on radio, so we can be a bit. We're cool.
Yeah. And every day they were hanging outside the gate, looking at me like 12 of them, going, "What are you doing here? This is our place." It's like, sorry guys, the house was vacant for 2 years. Like my goddaughter's father died 2 years ago, and then I ended up with his dog, and then synchronicity, we ended up living back here where he used to live, and yeah, it's weird, but a lot of strange stuff here. I've seen a ghost dog, and anyway, I'm digressing. But what I saw here, what was it, 6, 7, 8 weeks ago, was I was standing on the porch, and I saw these two things come out of the bush. That's like 500 metres away, I guess. And I thought they were kangaroos at first, because one stood up on its hind legs and was sniffing around, and then it fell back on 4 legs, and then I've looked at them going, they look like lions, or tigers. And then as they moved, they spotted me, and then they looked at me like they were, so far away. And then I realised they were Tasmanian tigers, well, Thylacines, Aussie tigers. And they just slowly walked into the bush, on all 4 legs, very gracefully. And the sun was shining on them, so I could see them so good. It was like, when I was seeing it, it was like I wasn't in reality anymore. I was like, what the hell? I've been obsessed by these creatures for so long because I was like so depressed for years that they were extinct. And anyway, Kev, no kidding, 2 weeks later, this guy I know called Jimmy, he sort of drinks a bit. He rides the pub every day past my place on a little motor-driven bicycle, those petrol-driven ones. And he stopped one day because he knew me dog Bruno, and he goes, "Oh, I haven't seen Bruno for 2 years. Oh, hello, Bruno." Bruno's well loved here in this little town. It's a very dog-friendly town. And then he goes, Ken, I've noticed you've gone with your dogs through the bush, through this track, but you can't go through the bush without weapons, because there is actually wild dogs going through, and they've actually attacked animals and killed them. And I'm going, what? So I've been walking on this ancient Aboriginal track. Every time I go there, it's like been there for, I don't know how many 100 years, but they used to walk from all along this beach for 100 miles, and now there's rivers there stopping it. But and then he says, I saw a thylacine. Me and my son saw a thylacine 3 weeks ago, and no kidding, it come out just, and he points exactly where I saw the thylacines, and I hadn't even told him about it. And I'm going, wow, man, I just saw him 3 weeks ago. And it was like, confirmation. It's like, wow, this is a guy, you know, he might be a town drunk, but, you know,
No,
him and
I
his son
seen
saw the exact same thing as me.
these were back in the news. I don't know if you're I can hear myself coming back on your Skype. It's gone now,
Oh,
but
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, these were in the news recently, and this is fascinating, dude. Far from extinct, then, right?
I mean, like, I've been
Donnie's seen one as well.
You seen them,
Oh,
Donnie?
really?
Yes, I have. Glen Innes,
Oh, mate. I mean,
2004.
it's so great when you hear someone else sees it, you know, it's like, I'm not going mad.
That is a beautiful looking animal. I mean, it really is.
King would be loving it right now.
Yep.
I am.
King's sweet. He's obsessed with thylacines.
I mean, what did they say? I mean, where did they say the Thylacine went then? Did they just say it died out or hunted, or what was the story?
Genocided, more or less. You
Yeah.
know, killing sheep, apparently, but that doesn't make sense because they're marsupials. They don't really eat meat that much. They might
No,
eat.
it was more a change of vegetation, more because of a changing climate. Climate change brought about the extinction of all the megafauna as well, because that's been actually quite a contentious issue in archaeology, whether the giant marsupials were hunted out of existence or whether they died out due to climate change. But evidence does suggest it was due to climate change, not due to hunting. So that's the official story anyway. But obviously, if we're still getting sightings, they're not extinct.
Yeah.
It's,
Exactly. I mean, it's fantastic.
Okay, hold on. Right, Ken, you hold on. Donnie, what were you saying there?
Some of the megafauna are still alive to these days because I've seen a Tasmanian wolf, as this fella saying, and I also have seen a Tasmanian lion. Marsupial lion.
Wow.
Have a look at those, Kev. Have a look at the marsupial lion.
They're about as big as a bear.
They're huge.
Wow.
We also had a big black cat.
Whoa, now hang on. What is this thing?
You know, the guidepost on the side of the road, Kevin. You know, you get that white guidepost.
Yeah.
His shoulder was 8 inches above that guidepost.
Whoa.
And they hop. They don't run. They hop. They sort of like a hop. One bound, he went over a 4-foot fence.
Dang, dude. So, Ken, what's your thoughts on this now that we're hearing about this as well?
Well, I don't know too much. I mean, there's lots of these cat sightings, big giant cat sightings. I mean, all through Victoria, the state I live. And then you hear them in Adelaide. I mean, maybe they aren't actually circus animals from the 1920s that escaped. Maybe there is some native feline type critter.
Yeah, we had a native black cat, very large native black cat.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I've heard about the ones in the, you know, the National Forest, what's it called? There was this cat family, they proved it had been there for 1,000 years. The Kimberleys. Yeah. Have you heard of that?
No, I didn't hear that. I know that we did have a black cat.
About 20 years ago, there was a story on it, vanished or like a lot of stories, you know, when they find new energy, it suddenly vanishes the next day. Yeah.
So, Ken, have you enjoyed today's show with Jess and Donnie and Anne-Marie?
Oh, excellent. It's so good because of, you know, this social distancing, isolation. It's so nice to hear other Australians that, you know.
You see, I think I'm just going to have to up sticks and come. I think I'm going to have to come down to the outback and set up down there. And yeah, I'll just live in a caravan, or I hear the beaches are good over there. Yeah.
In a caravan again. I thought I escaped caravan world. I'd live caravan.
I can see me on Bondi Beach. I would look good on Bondi.
I'd put a shifted in with with her boyfriend during Corona, and now I'm in a caravan again in the backyard.
Telling you, dude, the caravan is the way to
This
go.
is how I'm living how all of a sudden again. But, you know, I'm used to it. Yeah. Nah, it's
Well,
crazy.
wherever you are, dude, the
Got
fact
me
you're
too,
seeing like extinct animals, extinct with the air quotes animals, I tell you, I definitely fancy coming hanging out down there. I don't know if I'd be following them into the woods as bravely as you were, right enough. I think I'd have just gone the other way and kept it as a good story to tell people. But dang, this
I've
has
never
been
felt unsafe in the bush, Kev. It's like everything there just seems normal to me. It's when I go into the suburbs, the cities, you know, it's like everything suddenly becomes chaotic.
Oh,
And,
trust me, when you live in this urban jungle, the animals that you see here are worse than any wildlife, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
on that note,
The
though,
scariest things on earth are not supernatural, they're humans.
exactly, the biggest monsters out there are amongst us. And Jess, I'm going to give it back to you now. And if there's anything there that you've still got in the notes that you want to talk to Anne-Marie and Donnie about, then we'll get it out now. But if not, I'm going to shamelessly bring us all back together next month, and we'll get in even deeper. And next time, guys, you don't need to be nervous. You can just, you know, it's dead chilled. It's exactly what you see on YouTube. There's nothing different about it. Just a crazy guy in a hat and a lot to talk about.
It's made me so unnervous, Kev. You know, it's good. You know, it's my own group.
Yeah, that's the way. That's what I like to hear, dude. Everyone happy,
Like
but
3 years ago, I would have been nervous. You know. Yeah.
true.
Thanks, Kev. I just want to say thank you again. Thank you for having us. Thank you for having Anne-Marie and Donnie. And I want to say thank you to Anne-Marie and Donnie as well for coming on. And, you know, it means so much that you guys are talking about this stuff, and now is the time. And I have got plenty more here, but I mean, if I start with one thing, we're going to be here for another hour. So I might just...
do it.
Yeah, we might just save that for next month then.
That's good.
I wanted to tell you, Kev, we got a custom here in Australia, and us blackfellas. If I went over to see Donnie, we'd go out the back, we'd make a campfire, and we'd stay out there. If that campfire burnt all the night, we'd stay out there until that campfire went out.
Oh, right, this is bizarre. Right, the reason I put the fire on YouTube behind me, people say, well, it looks nice. That's part of it, but when I grew up, we had the coal fire, and then now I live 100 miles from my family, so when we do go up there, what we do is, every night, we've got a chimney, and we go out, it's like a wood burner, and we sit around the wood burner, and I think it's like so spiritual. I don't know, it's just something really rare about it, and that's why when I put that on, even if I fall asleep on the sofa, I'll make sure the fire's on, because there's something just... I find comfort from it. I don't know, it just makes me feel good. So I can't believe you finished up by saying that, because that's exactly what my family do anytime we get together.
Yeah, I've got a big open fire, me.
It's the best way. Yeah, it's the best way to go, apart from cleaning it out, Donnie, right?
Yeah, the cleaning out is a bit messy, but I still got the open fire.
Yeah, but you've got your son there now. Your son looks a strapping lad. He can clean it out for you. I know these young ones love to do all that, you know. But can I thank Edward as well? I don't know if he's called Ed or whatever, but if it wasn't for Ed, I don't think we would have got Donnie today. So a big shout out to Ed.
Yeah.
Thank you for the super chats. We had what other super chats? We had Jason, we had Edward, and Leroy. Just be happy. And yeah, thank you all so much for the super chats today. Today was about the information for me. The woo on the top was an absolute bonus, but more importantly, I'm so glad we've got to know each other now. And Anne-Marie, Donnie, we all know Jess, but it's always good to hear more from Jess as well. She's our resident archaeologist. I'll need to start paying you, Jess. I need to put you on the... I know, I'm just...
I was asking you about that pay rise, Kim.
I know, we'll have to come to some agreement on that, right? But guys, thank you so much. It's been weird for me because I don't do this during the day because of the American network. but I'm glad I done it, and I will be gladly coming back during the daylight hours, same time next month, similar time next month, whenever. But again, just thank you, and I don't know, Anne Marie, I think you or Jess should really close the show the same way as we kind of opened it, because I kind of like that. I like that whole matriarchal type thing. I don't know if I could get used to it long term, but yeah, I like it. It would definitely fit the show if we closed it out with you.
All right. Well, I'll do it in our way, and I'll say, it's been really good to share this with you, Mob, and I'll see you, Mob, at the next campfire.
We're out of here, folks.
Yeah.
Donnie, Ken, Anne Marie, thank you so much. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank
Normally,
you. Thank you, everyone.
And if you just
Thank
wait,
you.
if you just wait 30 seconds or so, and then I'll have a quick word with you when we get off air. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
No worries.
What are you laughing at?
Jess still there?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're all still here.